Welcome back to the official Atari Games podcast. This is Jason here, and I am joined by some fine gentlemen. Some first timers, some many timers, many timers, I guess. Not in any particular order, but let's start with David Paige, Adventure Enthusiast.
That's me.
That's what he wanted to be called. I'm good. How you doing? Welcome
I'm doing
back.
great. Thank you. Thank you for having me back.
When was the last time you were on the podcast?
Quantum, I believe.
Whoa!
That's been a bit. It's been a bit.
Yeah, you were like you're always a good Atari historian to bring on in the midst.
You could just say old. That's fine.
Atari historian.
Well, that's Al's. That's Al's title. He'll hurt me if I try to take his title. So
well, Al keeps dodging me when I ask him to join the podcast. So that's on.
And I'll take his title then.
Perfect. Then until he tries to take it, and Al, you're welcome anytime to take it. Then it is yours.
Yeah.
All right. And also we are joined by. All right, I'm going to give it a shot here. Gilerme Gaspar, 2D artist and art director at Ilex.
Hello, what's up?
Welcome, Gaspar. How you doing?
I'm good. Good. You?
Good. How did I do on the pronunciation?
With a little more tries, you can master it.
All right. Well, and for that reason, I'm not going to try. And lastly, we have Marcelo Rigon, the CEO of Ilex, the creative director on Adventure of Samsara, and programmer on Adventure of Samsara. He said, pick one of those. I went with all three. Welcome, Marcelo. How you doing?
Oh, it's great to be here. Thank you for calling me, Jason. It's a pleasure to talk about this game. We have been working on that for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited to talk about it. But before we get there, there's always housekeeping, of course. Now, we're talking about Adventure of Samsara. You could wishlist that. That's available. This is dropping a little bit later than usual to coincide with the announcement. So if you saw the trailer and you found your way over here and you're like, I just want to know more about what this game's about, well, you're in the right place. We're going to play it. Going to walk you through some of the early parts of the game. You can also play the game right now. There's a demo available on Steam as part of Steam Next Fest. So go check that out. And yeah, enjoy it. Wishlist it. Have some fun. But it's also coming to a bunch of consoles as well. So all those links to various consoles where you could wishlist it are below in the podcast description. But of course, there's other stuff going on at Atari. There's a whole bunch of things. Off the top of my head, I don't even know what is going to be announced at the time this drops. So I'm just going to say, hey, look up the news and see what we've done. There's some cool stuff. And I'm sure, actually, I can guarantee that we're going to have podcasts dedicated to those things very soon in the coming weeks. So, very soon in the coming weeks? Doesn't matter. Join the Discord, Atari Club, link below. Review the podcast. Say nice things. Subscribe if you haven't done so. And yeah, I think that's about it as far as that stuff goes. So, we're going to talk about Adventure of Samsara. We got two guys from Ilex, and we got David Paige. And you're like, well, why is David Paige here? Well, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah. Wow.
But first, I'm just gonna jump right in, and we'll just talk about it while I'm playing. So let me just write a quick little time code here, and start the recording over here. Right on. Okay, so here we are. Adventure of Samsara. Now, some people might be like, hey, wait, I think I've seen this game before. Have you seen it before? Well, it was originally Tower of Samsara, now Adventure of Samsara, and I think it's worth bringing that up. And I think it's worth bringing it up in the context of a small hotel room at GDC a few years back. And I kind of want to start there, because that was when myself and Ethan Stearns, who are our VP of games here, we first saw this game and immediately were blown away. And we're like, how do we publish this game? What we got it. This is awesome. It was incredible art. It was incredible pixel art. They just looked so cool. It had a style. It had a vibe, and it looked like, while it wasn't an Atari game, it felt like it would fit perfectly under Atari. And you guys were pitching this game, so I want to know, before we even get into the production origins background, I want to know what it was like pitching Tower of Samsara at GDC or even prior to various publishers. Like, what was it like? What was your mindset like? And go anywhere you want.
Yeah, it was like I was almost giving up, to be frankly, because I was pitching this game for like 3 years at that point, and we had a very like strong vision of what it should be, and everyone kept telling us that we should be more like Hollow Knight or something, and we're just like, oh, no one's getting like what do we want this game to be? So we were thinking on just like trying to make this game on the budget, when we had some budget, like, and maybe take like 10 years, maybe 15 years, but to do that as we wanted it to do. And then like when I spoke to you guys, like the comments you made on what I was talking, I said, oh my god, like at finally someone like understood like what we were trying to achieve with this title, like there is hope. So it was very nice like to have the opportunity like to meet you guys over there, and it was GDC is like always like a very busy wiki, so I was in shape to talk to you at the point, so maybe by the end of the week I have no brains anymore.
That's pretty good. Yeah, and I think the art just really stood out, and you can see that right now in motion. Just, I mean, the opening cutscene, that's relatively expanded and newer in the current state, but from the jump, it just had a style, and it was just like, oh yeah, this is very cool, and it was just such like a great attention to detail to the pixel art. And Gaspar, you want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, how can I say it? When I first started working on the game, I was recently graduated in the art school, and I didn't work on pixel art since I was like 14 with RPG Maker or something like that. So I kind of had to relearn some things, and maybe during that process, I kind of did some unorthodox things with the art that eventually I kind of had to adapt. But it kind of went to a very unique path. It was very fortunate, especially because maybe the proportion of the character and how everything built around him, it's smaller than usually the characters in pixel arts are. So I think that kind of, how can I say it? Was pretty happy. It was a pretty happy ending.
Yeah. I mean, the art, it's really awesome. So excellent work there. And Marcelo, it was interesting that you brought up that a bunch of people you pitched to wanted the game to be something else. And I think that one of the first things people may notice, and I don't think it's worth glazing over or glossing over, is the the presence of adventure, and that being in the title, and that's part of the reason why Paige is here, because I would love to talk about that process. But before we get into that, I just want to know, like, what was the original intention of the game? Like, walk us through the game, because the spoiler alert, all those things are basically what the game is. So.
It was initially it was a very much broader idea, much larger than it ended up happen. But if Marcelo wants to complete.
Yeah, like as a matter of fact, a long time ago, when Gaspar launched this title, it was a Kickstarter campaign. I was one of the backer. I was not like working with Gaspar at that point.
It's pretty crazy.
Oh, okay, interesting.
And like I was like so like stunned by the visuals and the concept of the game, that like the game would be like all the solar system. You'll be walking like planet to planet. There was a very huge arc. However, they didn't succeed with the Kickstarter, and after some time, he started asking around for people that wanted to work with him to complete this game, and he got to me. And then I said, "Oh, Gaspar, instead of like me working to you, like I have a company for about 20 years, so maybe we should do like the other way around. You bring the IP, you become a partner for the company,
Yeah,
and
it was.
I'll find some path for us to make this work." But the idea was like this huge plan of getting like walking all over all the planets, like some people don't call Pluto a planet, but like all the planets on the solar system. And we just like reduce it. No, let's start with just here, just let's focus here, and we'll try to get it out, and then we see what will happen.
Yeah, one planet at a time.
Yeah, and I was pretty happy because before meeting Marcelo and joining the company, I was pretty much doing some guerrilla production, like finding people on the internet, carrying a prototype under your arms and try to find someone to help you with that. So it was pretty awesome how especially I found out that he was a backer. So it was a match.
That's awesome. So then, I think what happened pretty early on when we picked up the title and signed it, there was opportunity there, I think, for ways that we saw adventure kind of fitting into it, into this game. And that actually came originally from Wade, our CEO at the time, early on. And, one of the things for sure was we want to respect vision. And you guys were along the way the whole time. I don't want to speak for you, but I do want to get Paige, Dave, whatever. We'll go in and out of that. He's the same guy, everybody, if you're confused. There's not a rogue Dave on this podcast now. But I want to get Paige off the bench and kind of talk about those initial conversations, because I'm sure you, as an Atari fan, like, be honest, were you skeptic number one?
Skeptic? Well, no. I mean, because I think the first time, definitely the first time I saw it was we have an occasional meeting where we get to see some games and bringing things in, and you and Stearns came in very excited about, hey, look what we found, this game, Tower of Samsara, and was presenting it. What's that?
Not even the name.
Or wasn't that the name? Or Hidden Treasures?
Tower of Samsara.
Tower of Samsara. And it was, it was like you were saying before, it was really incredible look to it, and just wandering, in that initial stage, going through, it had such great atmosphere to it. So, when I saw that, and then in the tie-ins and the potential tie-ins of what Adventure, what I know for Adventure from the 1980 game, I wasn't skeptical about it. I mean, if it was launched out as just, here's a new Adventure game, and I didn't see anything, yeah, sure, I would have been skeptical as hell, because Adventure is very near and dear to my heart, so I'm always cautious about that. But seeing the game and then learning I was like, this is great, this is awesome, I love this, and then getting to see more in the exploration, and then we, I guess in a certain way, I consulted. We had a meeting with bringing me in and being the adventure geek and talking about what makes adventures, special, and seeing if there are ways we could add some of those elements into what was being created into this game. So, yeah. But
So walk me through those conversations, and any of you guys could take it from here, because I was actually not in those conversations. I was not the producer on this game. Mark Perloff was, and he at Atari here, and he's on paternity leave, so that's why he is not on this podcast. So, hi, Mark, if you're listening.
Hey, Mark.
He's not listening, everybody.
Hope you're getting some sleep, Mark.
That's important for a small kid.
Yeah.
To be able to sleep at some point.
Right.
It was like very interesting, because for us, the idea of, because this the adventure title, it's it's not one title that had a lot of like comics and a lot of so it got more like archetypical, let's say, or something like that. Like it's more like symbolic, like the concepts behind adventure. So the feeling of the game is, I think, it's more important than the narrative itself for this particular title. And this was like the first action adventure for digital games in the world. Like, so for us it was like a very huge burden to carry, like that we were like very pleased to be able to get there. And it was like not like as if we need to recreate the title from scratch. It was just like to tune in the adjustment, and even like to take care of because one of the problems with these titles that don't have a lot of written stuff is that many people interpret differently. So that was another concern that at some point we were talking more about like gameplay mechanics and dynamics and kind of stuff, but we also wanted to include the more like direct reference, so that the people that didn't play but like saw the manuals or like saw images from the game, they would also like be represented by this title.
Yeah, and I think also what's important is that this game is not a reinvention of the 1980 game or a remake, or this is another adventure. And story-wise there is a connective thread, but it's in no way trying to modernize the 1980 game or replace the 1980 game. This is its own thing, but there is a story connective thread that has been made with that cycles. I don't want to say anything more, but I think that's important, especially for, crusty Gen Xers like me, they're going to reinvent. And it's like, no, this is not a reinvention. This is not replacing that. This is the next adventure. This is something on. And
we're not trying to ruin your childhood.
Right. No childhood ruined. Right.
Yeah.
It's not a remaster or a remake of any shape or kind. We are trying to expand the universe and adding more color on the landscape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, like cool. Crossing two multiverses into one and see what happens.
That's cool. So tell me about the story. Let's set the table for the story you guys are telling here without spoilers, of course. Don't want to do that because I think the intrigue and the world building is such a huge part of the experience, and it's so cool. Just the way people talk is weird. So set the table here. What is actually happening? Who am I? Who are you? Why are we here?
Do you want to start, Gaspar?
I'm afraid to spoil something. I'll speak slowly. The initial idea is that the sun is dying. The solar system is at risk of falling into like nothingness, into darkness, and this urge of the sun to save itself and the creation have sort of manifested this intention into into the character, into the champion, which in the start of the game resuscitate the body to be a vessel of the solar power, and this. So after that, it's some sort of how can I say, an odyssey to achieve these objectives. Not trying to spoil.
Well, don't say the end. You could say the mission and the goals without saying whether or not he succeeds.
I can take over from there.
Okay.
Basically, like there is this guy that's you are in Pluto or something, and then you are dead and you are reborn by this magical power, let's say. And you are on this completely like desolate world. Like there is a few guys over there, but just like a bunch is alive yet on the planet, still alive on the planet. So you have to discover, like, because you have no memory, like what you're doing there, like who you are, and like why are you there, and what are those people. A fun fact is that like almost all the names, there is like I think one or two exceptions for that. They are all from Esperanto. We purposely we made that choice to use that language as the one to create those names, and because these people, the Orphic, they are very like community wise. They are very like for them, like the community is very important. Like for they have some kind of link between all of them, and there is this language that almost no one speaks, because I made some time of Esperanto. I know a little about how to speak Esperanto, and the idea of the language was to be like some kind of diplomatic language for all the countries, so we don't have to learn like the language of one specific country, because that country will be like the natives, they are like far advanced on that language that everyone else has to speak. So the idea of Esperanto is to be this kind of diplomatic language, and that's why we made all the names of the character for the Orphics using that language.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then what about from a gameplay side of things? Because I think if you're watching, if you're playing, I think as we're talking about it, the structure is most definitely metroidvania. But what was the intent? Because it doesn't really feel like most modern games, and I think it kind of is a direct response with what you were saying earlier about your pitches.
Yeah, our major like reference in the beginning was the original Prince of Persia. So we wanted to accommodate the new players that have a more like a fast-paced action experience that they are expecting. However, we wanted to get as close as we could for the original Prince of Persia, so having more animation, to have more deliberate actions for you to do without making that a duel. So we were always like on this thread, how to walk that, and with this idea of being a solar power, and there is all this technology, like the gate you just like met. It's not hidden like far in the game, too deep on the game, the technology. So it's at first it's meant to resemble magic, but very soon like we start discovering that it's not exactly magic. There is some kind of very advanced technology that's lost in time, so it looks like magic going on. And all the weapons, all the powers kind of is the manifestation of the will of the character. So like you understand how like it would work to have the sword and shield, and then you can manifest that and use that to fight. Even like the upgrades for equipments, you have to get an item that's called the Emerald Disc. It's a CD, but it's from Emerald. So they can like get the blueprints and understand the mechanisms of that, and he can just like summon with his will, because it's kind of, you have some nanobots that will construct the weapon as you like try to hit. That's kind of the concept.
And like when I firstly started working on the game, I'm a pretty huge fan of Super Metroid myself, so there were some elements that I felt like really adding into it, especially the technological things. So when I made the character, I was mostly thinking about his armor as being something like Samus Aran suit, rather than a medieval sort of thing gear, right? So after that, we during the early stages of the earlier prototypes, we were kind of be asked about, okay, if it's about sci-fi, where is the technology? But because we had this old plan that inserting these elements more ahead of the game, but we felt like we should be giving that more earlier, and that decision made me choose about making the UI more technological, the internal bags and menus, like all technology.
Yeah.
And even like
It's actually it does look a bit like the Metroid Prime Samus
Yes,
helmet
yes.
as well. Yeah, like that visor view, right?
Uh-huh.
and like that opened space for us to have more weapons as well, because who played like the very old versions of this title, there was some it was too close of the original Prince of Persia, so when there was two times, there was like the parkouring time, let's say, and the fighting phase. So when you wanted to fight, you have to stop and like unsheath your sword, and then you get like in combat mode, and then you have very like more slow kind of moves for the combat, and you couldn't like jump and grab and anything like that. Like, you could jump, but it was a smaller jump, and you couldn't grab during that phase. And we decided even like to communicate with like small pixel art stuff, this idea of the technology, and to make it easier like for us to have more weapons. We went with that materialization, like as a matter of fact, like the glove is some kind of very technological device, the gauntlet, so that's able you to summon the swords and all the weapons just like as when you are doing the swing, so that make it much easier. And we got, without having to change the parkouring of the game too much, we were able to make it more action oriented.
Yeah. I think early on, that's a big part about Metroidvanias and this kind of style of wanting to go back. You're constantly doing backtracking. It's like one of the few genres where backtracking is built in and not a negative to the experience. So I remember this coming up early on in our playtest, being like, man, it's a pain in the ass just to go back. I'm like, no one's going to want to do this over and over again. They're going to lose their minds. But
I was one of the ones that just said, no, that's adventure. You got to go back and forth. There's so much traveling in that game.
Yeah. And there was definitely, it was, but hey, I mean, you guys were, I mean, it was great to work with, and you guys seemed to take that to heart, and we did all that. Yeah, go ahead.
That's why I think it's so important to create abilities that make it easier to travel, and
Yep.
and these abilities have to be juicy, very juicy.
Yeah.
I think
I think this is a great example of, if you're watching the YouTube video, and if you're not watching the YouTube video, you go and see, what we're talking about here, or just play the game. Like I said, you can play the demo now on Steam Next Fest. When you get to this room, I mean, you see hints of the technology, like the doors and whatnot, but then you get to the fast travel system, and you see this room that just looks like so alien compared to everything else you've seen up until this point, that's just hiding behind this seemingly, unimposing or like nondescript little village, right? Like you look here and you say, oh, well, these guys are clearly, there's no technology here. And then you go into this room, you're like, whoa, you're sitting on what? This is the Orphic village, of course. And
it's kind of the cool Doctor Who feeling, like of you like seeing the the police box, and then when you go inside and see, oh my god.
Yeah, and I love those juxtaposition themes. And like I'm playing Doom: The Dark Ages right now, and that game, that cross between that medieval and high technology is such a weird mix. So it's very cool when you go into one thing and you're like, this shouldn't be here, but it is, and it's cool that it is.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing that I thought about when we were like having this character wielding a sword and shield, and then suddenly he changes to bow gun with energy shots. And then I saw the Doom Dark Ages, for example, and I saw the Doom guy wielding a shield and a shotgun. I was like, yes, that looks cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I was just in the Orphic Village, and I talked to all these guys, and I got to ask about this. Right? Is now the story, you didn't want to give a lot away, and that's important because I think a lot of the game is presented in this almost cryptic nature, right?
Yeah.
How do you go about writing something like that so that you're not as explicit and trying to keep that intrigue? Because there's a tone, there's a vibe, and a lot of that is meant to be ambiguous.
There was a thing that heavily inspired us, which started with Dark Souls, because in Dark Souls you were presenting to this post-apocalyptic world, but it's like maybe let's say it's like 1,000 years after the end, so everything is just there is nothing much left, just fragments, and these fragments helps you to interpret the world, but these fragments are not necessarily linked, and you have to create that inside your head. So there is this thing about not telling everything and let the player discover. I think that inspired a lot.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And there is this also like this thing of people, because they have been on this fight for so long, and most of them doesn't remember most of the details, so there is a lot of rumors, myths, and legends. So it's a lot of tales that are told, so you don't really know if you can trust them, if what he's saying like is true or not. So it was one of the things behind when we were writing, and there are like the functions, because it is kind of community village, like everyone has a function. So like the mechanisto, he's more like an engineer, so he's just very practical things, and like he wants to fix everything, and he's not the one like that you give too much reason for this kind of tales and myths. However, like the more like the crafters, they are more into the creative idea and all these dreams, and all this is more like mystical, esoterical stuff that fool them. So we try to make that resonate with like what they are saying and what's their role in the community as well. So.
Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, it's interesting behind the scenes of that stuff. I think large communities, what is it, Vatos videos, something like that, was kind of created a whole community around just analyzing the ambiguity of Souls-like games and that kind of stuff. So,
and that kind of inflated me into, for example, creating the character smaller than normally some Metroidvanias do, because by creating a smaller character, it would be emphasize the room space and how things can be bigger than you. So that kind of feeling was very present the whole time.
And the one thing that was like always struggling with, but on purpose, is that we are doing some kind of solar hero story here. Like it's very classic, like the sun hero, like coming and saving the world. But we didn't want that to be that. So we were like walking that path with the way things work. But we wanted to make it very important, the interactions we have with the community, and that make a difference during the game. Like for you, like to just go playing as like, oh, I'm the big guy over here, like I'll take care of everything. Yeah. And if you like take a time and talk with everyone, like understand what's going and try to help them, that makes a huge difference.
Yeah. I think it's right here. This is why I held off going to the bench. Paige, you're back off the bench.
All right.
Now let's not be so crazy here, but tell me what is happening here, because this guy looks a little familiar.
Yeah, it is a little familiar. One of the things we when we talked about was those connective threads that made sense to this world. You know, when I was talking about, and I will, at a drop of a hat, I will always talk about the greatness of adventure. One of the things that makes the original Adventure such a unique game, even by today's standards, is the living aspect of that game. That, you know, you start a game and you can just sit still and things are going on without your input. You know, the game is constantly changing with the bat flying around, picking up items, the dragons roaming around. And, you know, with modern games, it's so large, there's no way you can load an entire world where the dragons are just roaming around everywhere. But, you know, we were talking about and inserting where we can logically and in the game these points of, I don't want to say randomness, but, you know, of that living aspect. And so, you know, here are some of the, you know, that's one of these connective tissues that gives hints to the other game. And, you know, I don't know the full scope, but, you know, there is, you know, a monster or two or more. I don't know the full scope again of, you know, where a monster is roaming around in an area. You know, so it's just not just spawn, but it has a path and it runs across. So there's some, you know, not spontaneity. Well, I guess a little spontaneity, but, you know, it's not always you enter a room, it's spawned, right? Not every enemy. So, you know, those were like some of those elements that for me, that makes what makes adventure. And so here we've got, you know, you saw a dragon. I mean, this is in particular a cutscene with that dragon, but these are some of those connective tissues of the game, the original game and this game.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean,
it almost feels like I feel almost bad getting to this point in the game, but I think it's in the trailer as well, so it's not that big of a deal. But the first time you see the cosmonaut and you're just like, what is happening? What is going on? And it is so cool. It's like the same thing. And I think that like the cosmonaut character was not part of the original game, right? Or
he was not there. Like as we spoke about the adventure, with all these meetings, like we thought that would be very very cool this because there is like the whole arcs, all these like solar very advanced technology of the old civilization. Like there is a lot going on with like extraplanar and like multiverse kind of thing on the narrative of the game. It has always had like some of these, and said, oh, why not? Like let's try to make a bridge between these worlds and all the so some of the original game leak into this game. So we started like bringing these characters here, and like as a matter of fact, like Cosmonauto was like one of them that when I wrote the narrative for this for this guy, like you were saying like that it was very like oddly like and I said, oh, but maybe I trim that a little, but the thing is like he is from another universe, like he shouldn't be like so close, like the way he talks from the rest, like it's important that everyone thinks that he's not from here, because he is not, like he
stranger in a strange land.
Yeah, like the Spider-Verse or something.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Atari-verse.
The Atari-verse. And I think also it's, you know, this has happened before, right? This will happen again kind of idea too, that there's these cycles and you're in a cycle, and, you know, adventure was a cycle. So
and every time a cycle repeats, it changes a little bit.
It's really cool stuff. I love that character. Every time I saw him pop up, I just wanted to.
Yeah,
I just want to keep talking
too.
with him. Like, what else is he going to say? He's so cool. This is the coolest character. I think all the characters are cool. I mean, there's the kids as well. I shouldn't be here. I'm gone to a place I shouldn't have been. Let's back up. Let's go the other way.
Run away.
Spoilers.
Oh, that was interesting. There is, there's the. Did you see what just happened? By the way.
Yeah. You because you are like one version behind.
Oh,
It's
okay,
fixed.
got it. Oh, that's a great bug. There you go, everybody. Take a look. See if you caught that bug. You're welcome. Hey, how much do you plan for these podcasts?
We got our answer.
What? No, next question.
That's a teleporting feature. Like you just.
Yeah. Oh man, I should talk about that. I love because there's certain things that we can only talk about here that no one would ever think about asking, and this is where I can say how dare you. So when I played through the game earlier this year, and I played through the whole thing beginning to end, there was one of the most absurd bugs of all time, and it was so there are elevators in this game, and so oftentimes you never knew, and I'd say it was probably they would work 40% of the time. So it would start moving up and you would just fall right through. And it was wild. And I'm like, well, maybe if I stand here. I was trying to figure it out, but I could not find a rhyme or reason. Good news, those are now fixed. And then also this so-and-so that I would love to use profanity for, but this guy, I remember there was a build that came through and Mark wasn't here. I was covering as well. So I did the notes and I just remember I wrote, I hate this man with a screenshot of the spear guy. Because, oh my God, just the timing of the attacks and everything. I was like, guys, what is happening? And like, yeah, we still have it out. So what do you have to say for yourself?
We could make like the elevator feature, like you are not worth. We make a notification on the side like you are judged like not worth.
Yeah.
But there is a lot of things that it's very hard for us to test the game because especially like me, like because I program most of the game and I was also like the game designer, level designer of most of the levels. I think half of them was me that created, and so I know how it works. So I just like play the way I know it to behave. So
you have inside knowledge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have people from outside testing and said, "Oh my God! Like of course people play it that way." Like,
yeah. It's very, very interesting. I think the more you know, it's almost dangerous, right? Because you think, well, I know how to play it.
Yeah, you
So
get
playing this
immune
way,
by
so
the
everything's
difficult, for example.
Yeah, I remember the first time I got someone to play Fatal Run, the demo. It was a guy who doesn't play racing games, so he didn't even know that the gas was the trigger, and he didn't even know to hold it to go, and somehow just ended up driving right off the course and on this thing, getting in a position that I'd never seen before. I said, well, that was unique. Don't know how or why anybody ever do that, but here we are. Let me just restart that for you. Yeah. It'll be very interesting to get... so, hey, look, the demo is going to be out, so I would implore, and, I don't know whether these guys want to hear it or not, send post feedback, share feedback. Let us know what you think. Because all that stuff is really important, and, you guys will all be playing it for the first time, and we definitely value what you have to say.
Yeah, and at this point, like we are all handling that title, so as soon as we get feedback, like it's the best moment for us to go trying to fix that. So if you can play the demo, please like let us know what you think. We have been trying because this is a recurrent feedback that we have not yet been able to take care of. I don't know if we will be able, but we are not like done trying, is to use the D-pad for you to walk as well, not just the analog. The thing is, like, we are missing one button. If we can relocate like one button to another place, we can get the D-pad free for you to walk. I know that a few players that play this kind of title prefer to do that, but we are still like trying to do that. No, don't give hope yet, please.
One button. It's always one button.
Always one button.
It's always one button. Short.
So I want to So I want to talk about one thing here because you have a few different builds that you can create. You give some flexibility. We never really talked about the build crafting in the game. I mean, there's a lot to talk about the game, right? There's a lot of nuances, and we're only going to talk for another like few minutes or so before I force you guys to play a stupid game I came up with. But so there's spells and there's the gauntlet. So right now I have, after playing for about 30 minutes, and I know everything. I know how to do it. So it probably won't take you 30 minutes. You saw I was really good at this game. Obviously, I've done this a couple of times. But in 30 minutes, I have 3 spells, right? So and spells are found and they're equipped one at a time, and you could trigger them with the left bumper, L1 or L on Switch. And then the gauntlet, you could unlock more stats to build craft. So I want to get so I gave that quick explanation of what they are, so I could pose this question to you, which is, what are your favorite spells and gauntlet items to have equipped for your build? What builds do you like playing with?
Oh, I always favor the sword, and I don't like too much the high risk, high damage styles of others, and I always go for damage, and because you on the equipment you have, you can like boost your defense, you can boost your damage, you can boost your like spells, right? I prefer to always like put everything on damage and try to dash through all attacks. That's my way of playing.
Yeah, it's always an interesting conundrum. It's like, can I do more damage before they do damage to me?
Yeah.
Right? It's always a tough question to ask. Gaspar, how about yourself? What's your
I also prefer the sword because I'm kind of anxious, so I kind of need to press a lot of moves. So I always pick up the sword, and I'm not really found to spells, never was. So instead of using like burst spells, I kind of choose using what is called the next attack upgrade.
Yeah.
Not upgrade, buff, where your next attack gets increased damage. So that's my weapon of choice.
Yeah, my favorite spell is the Ion Storm. I think that like for most of the occasions he's like great.
It's cheese.
Like, if you place the enemies on the right spot, you can make a lot of damage with that one. Yeah, you just have to plan before casting that. But if Rodrigo was here, like he is always with the bow. I said, oh my god,
okay.
he's so good with the bow and the mines that you can throw on your feet.
Oh yeah, those are cool. They're fun.
Yeah, that's pretty fun because even though I like the sword, when you try another weapon, it feels refreshing because you're gonna have to adapt a lot of your style, and I think people are gonna enjoy that.
Well, I think people are going to enjoy the game in general, and I think this is a good place to stop the playthrough. So otherwise, I'm going to keep playing and spoil the whole game. I will say that I keep track of all the games I play and on a year-to-year basis, and I actually sandwiched this game through an absolute gauntlet of Metroidvanias. So I played Blade Chimera, I played Ender Lilies, I played Ender Magnolias, and I played this all in succession of one another. I played this one in between, and all 3 of those games are excellent Metroidvania games, and it was not at all a trudge, or it never felt like work playing through the game, even in that early state. And this was around like February or March or so. And that was with the elevator problem. So that just goes to show you how much better it's going to be for you when you guys get a chance to play it at home. And I'm really excited to hear it. So, and it really, I'll say this, if you're playing on PC, if you're playing on Steam Deck, I played the entire game on a Steam Deck plugged into my TV, playing at about 1440, I think. And it was running at basically 60 FPS. So it was pretty awesome. So lots of ways to play the game. I think you guys are going to be excited. Now, I told you I'm going to make you play a stupid game. And that's exactly what we're going to do right now. All right. So, fellas, this should be a pretty simple one, straightforward one. Let me just bring up my notes here. Here we go. All right. So, this is going to be one of those spelling games that I don't have a name for, but that's okay. We don't need a name for this one. And you can't see my screen. Good. Okay. I don't want to show you the answers accidentally. So what we have, we are going to spell the word adventure. Okay. And we're going to take turns, and you guys have to guess the game that corresponds to each letter. Okay? Now, a theme may develop, and it's a very obscure theme. So basically, if you get even one of these, chances are you're going to be in prime position to win. Okay? Now, normally I go alphabetical by first name, which would mean Paige would go first. And you know what? I'm not going to break that trend. I thought about it, but I'm not going to do it this time. All right. I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? That would be rude to Paige. And since his name is actually Dave, that means he goes first. Gaspar, whether your first name or last name was here in the mix, it would be the same. That's a double G situation. And Marcelo, you would also be last, I think, either way in this scenario. So, Marcelo, you will go last. But hey, that gives you time to kind of figure out what the theme is, because Paige actually has probably the hardest task of just naming any game that begins with A in adventure. So, Paige, what is your guess?
Okay. Any game that starts with the letter A.
Yeah, and this will not be long. Don't worry, because when you get it, let me give you the benefit of the doubt here. If you get it wrong, we'll just go right to D. I'll tell you what the name is, and then we'll go to the next one.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna.
Actually, you know what? I lied. We're gonna go around and take turns. So think about it. But if you get it right, then we'll go to the next one.
Okay, I'm gonna. I work for Atari, so I'm gonna go asteroids.
Incorrect.
Damn it,
Gaspar. What do you think? Any game that begins with the letter A.
Letter A. I can't say bad words here.
I prefer you didn't. I could censor it, but that would just not work.
A. Alien Isolation. No.
No, not right. But I did get those timestamps for the profanity, so I'll have a nice couple of censor marks there. That's okay. Marcelo.
Alundra.
No, incorrect. I went with Aquaventure.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, next one. D. Paige.
D. Dark Chambers.
Nope. Gaspar.
Doom.
Nope. Marcelo.
Dead Cells.
Nope. I went with Diablo, but I like where your head's at. Not bad, Diablo. All right, I'll preemptively say that V is not in the theme. I just thought it'd be fun to say. So, Paige.
Well, I was gonna go with classic Venture.
No, I don't even know what that is. What is that?
That's the arcade. That's the arcade game that is similar to our to Adventure, but you got your little smiley face with a bow, and you're going around these rooms and getting the treasure. It's a classic arcade game.
Interesting. Wish I knew that existed. That would have been a good choice. Now, is there an apostrophe, or it's just Venture?
Just Venture.
Oh. All right, yeah, fair enough. Gaspar.
V. Valkyrie Profile.
No, great choice though. Marcelo.
I think the Valiant Hearts.
Great game. You know what's cool about this and giving you guys all a chance is that you just learn about a bunch of games. And that's what's also fun, just to say a bunch of name of games. I went with Beautiful Joe. Again, has nothing to do with the theme, but it's a great game. And not enough people talk about Beautiful Joe. Hey, Capcom, bring it back.
Yeah. What's up with that?
All right. E. Paige.
Oh boy.
Feeling good. I feel like someone's going to get this one.
Oh, E. I think I'm seeing the theme here, but
yeah.
I think so. I'm blanking on E. Can I phone a friend?
Yeah, you could call. You have one friend you could phone, and his name is David Paige.
Damn, it's me, myself, and I. Oh.
Yeah.
I am blanking, so I'm going to go with E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
Love it. Not what I chose. Would have been fun though. Gaspar.
Earthworm Jin.
Nope. Another great
good
one. Marcelo.
Ender Lilies.
What is it?
Ender Lilies.
No. Also would have been a good choice. I went with Enter the Gungeon.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. And this one also doesn't fit the theme, but it's fun. Well, here's the thing: I had to come up with all this stuff really fast. I wanted to make you guys play a dumb game, so therefore, But I assure you, this is the last one that doesn't.
This is the last one that's non-theme related.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But I will give you a hint. It's a fun game.
It's a fun game. That doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, the theme is they're all fun. How about that?
Nukem.
Nope.
No.
Don't even know what that is. Gaspar.
It's not related to the team, right?
Correct.
Neverwinter Nights.
Nope. I did think about that one though.
Oh.
Marcelo.
And Ninja
Which
Gaiden.
never went. No, but you were close. I went with Ninja Golf.
Ooh, pretty close.
Yeah. Neverwinter Nights. I thought that might be in the theme, but a little too far removed. All right, T, and I'm gonna give you a hint. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The word "the" starts with a T. Paige, go. Some people don't know this.
Right. It's a
I'm
very
telling
obscure
you.
fact. That's a very obscure fact. Thank you.
Before you ask, I'm just going to answer that question.
Now all I have the word is "the" in my head.
The classic game, The. And its sequel, The.
Produced by them. I would. All I have in my head is The Thing, and I know that's not what I wanted, but that's all I have in my head is The Thing, and
That is the wrong answer. Gaspar.
Shit, I don't know. DT. I have no idea. I have no idea.
Did I make it more? Did I make it more complicated? Did I throw you guys off by giving you that hint about the?
the only word in my head now is "the."
All right, fair enough. Marcelo, what do you got?
I'll say The Witcher because
Another good game. I went with The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time.
Oh, that was so obvious.
And then you went down even further.
I saw it coming.
You just said The Legend of Zelda.
We got 3 left. So I want to ask you guys, do any of you have any idea what I had in mind for this very loose theme?
Adventuring, a role play, kind of open worldy kind of.
Not exactly. I'll just tell you now because we got 3 left and these all fit the theme. It was basically games that are that I could draw some relation to the classic adventure,
right? Like
some lineage back to the original adventure. Okay, and with that, Paige, you. As in the letter U, not one.
As in the letter U. You know what? Let's go with a more modern one. Undertale.
That is correct. Got it.
Oh
You got one?
my god.
Yeah. Nailed it. All right.
Who says I'm out of touch?
How long do you have?
Oh, there are little tears now.
Gaspar. R.
With an R?
Yes.
Maybe it has to be a top-down, like adventure.
It could be anything, any game. I mean, not all these are top-down. I chose a 3D Zelda game.
R-Type.
No, but good game.
Yeah.
Marcelo.
Record of Lodoss War.
No, but also a good game. I you know, as we were going through this, I should have just went with Metroidvanias. We probably could have, or is there more Record of the Lotus War games? Because I'm thinking of the Deedlit one.
Just the one.
Yeah, I think I thought of the Didlit one.
Yeah, that game's good.
I gotta play that.
I don't like the combat so much. I think it's like too easy. Like once you get the way to play that, it's like so easy for you to kill everyone, and like the bosses are so hard because like there is no time to react to anything. So I think it's kind of like, but I like the environment, the narrative, and everything. But most of the enemies I was just like running through, killing everyone.
Yeah, I think I do like a Metroidvania game that can be completed in like less than 4 hours. 100%. That was kind of interesting. Also, shout out to Ladybugs because they made that. They made Drainus, which is an awesome, if unfortunately named, shmup. And then they most recently this year, I just said it recently, but Blade Chimera is their latest, and it's really, really good. All right, Paige, what do you think for R?
I'm going to go with Red Dead Redemption. And I'm going to go specifically 2.
Oh, okay.
But that's Red Dead Redemption.
That's interesting. I said Red Dead. No, I didn't. No, not even close. I went with Resident Evil.
That was my other one. It was going to be Resident Evil or Red Dead.
And because like Resident Evil, I said, yeah, that's definitively similar. You're collecting keys, you're unlocking doors, you're doing all this other
sense,
stuff.
huh?
Yeah. That one I felt the most clever. All these other ones, take it or leave it. All right, Gaspar, final chance here. E, what do you got?
E. E.
I know. I've got this one.
I feel like he does, and I'm a little concerned by it. Don't let him have this.
Earthbound?
No, but that's a great choice. I wish I thought of that. That's what I would have wrote. Marcelo.
Another E game. Let me.
Think about it.
I think I don't like the letter E because I don't have played many titles with starting with E.
Think about an adventure. What could it be? What could this E game be? The last one. And then everybody could go home.
Maybe this time it's Ender Lilies.
What's that?
Maybe this time is Ender Lilies. Like
maybe. Unfortunately, it's not. It was Ender No, I'm just kidding. Paige, what is it?
What was the first? Even to make sure I'm not repeating myself.
The first E was Enter the Gungeon.
Okay. I got 2 that's going to match it. So I'm just going to go with my gut. A little bit older one, Elder Scrolls.
Ooh.
The other one was going to be Elden Ring.
Okay. Well, you said Elder Scroll first, and that's wrong. Yeah. Okay. Elden Ring is correct. And I'll tell you why Elder Scroll is wrong. Mm-hmm. Because what did I tell you with T?
You're adding T.
The starts with the letter T. Therefore,
you're right.
Elder Scrolls would not have worked for E. Otherwise, there would have been multiple.
Okay. All right. I should have gone with my gut and go with Elden Ring, but I said, you know what? Let's do Elder Scrolls.
So Paige wins this game with a commanding shutout victory of 1-0. How does it feel? What do you have to say for yourself?
I feel complete now. I feel complete. No,
good.
Nice little challenge there.
That's all it takes. Well, thank you for enduring that, and thank you to Gaspar and Marcelo and the team at Ilex. The
pleasure.
Game is the game Adventure of Samsara. You can wishlist it now. It's coming soon. We haven't said much more than that, but it's very cool, and you can play it right now on Steam Next List. You play the demo, and I know you'll enjoy it. It's not I hope you enjoy it. I know you'll enjoy it. This is a good game.
And thank you very much. Thank you very much for inviting us.
Anyway, well, thanks for joining me. Paige, you won. Do you want people to find you on the internets? Do you want to plug anything? Do you want to say anything to the people?
Happy gaming, everyone, and catch us on the Atari Discord, Atari Club. And you'll find me there along with other people, Atari enthusiasts. And keep an eye on our website, atari.com and atariage.com, to find all the new games that are coming out, and cartridge and digital download and all that stuff. So that's my plug.
I'm going to clip that and just throw that in all these episodes so I don't have to keep saying it. Gaspar, you were tied for last, but your name is earlier alphabetically. So you get to go next. Is there anywhere people can find you or anywhere you want them to find you on the internets?
The only social network that I have is Instagram, LinkedIn, and that's it.
All right. Well, if you want your LinkedIn, send that to me. I'll include it in the links below.
Sure do. Thanks a lot.
Because you got a lot of pretty art there, I imagine. Very cool.
Not so much.
No?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can show after the release of the game.
Oh, okay. Ooh, look at that. Follow Gaspar. Marcelo,
No.
What about yourself?
On that site, that's for sure.
I'm a hermit. I don't use social networks, but
all right, so find him on the streets.
Like LinkedIn, and like I think I'll go back to Twitter maybe, and Blue Sky. Like Blue Sky, I'm there, but I haven't been saying much on the last year or so. But you can find me there, and
cool.
Just send me a message. Like I talk with everyone. Like I'm always looking, I'm always listening, but I'm not talking too much nowadays.
It's better.
You're a lurker. You're a lurker. Just like me. I'm definitely a lurker, which is
or a PTSD with social networks. That happens too.
Yeah. Well, lurking is easy, and you kind of get the what is it, the dopamine hit, and you don't have to deal with the repercussions. I'm also terrible at posting. That's why I am the worst at self-promotion. So,
so how do we find you, Jason?
Hey.
What?
You think that's not last? You think that's what you think I need? You think I need a transition? You can find me on Blue Sky at Jays of Doom, and that's it. That's where you find me. I also, not only do I lurk social media, I lurk the comments of YouTube. So, yeah, post stuff, say stuff, nice things. Keep guessing about episode 53. You're all wrong. Maybe it'll be out by the time this posts. I don't know, but you're all wrong. You're not even close. It's fun. It's just not the crazy. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to give any.
Episode 53 is like the polybus of this podcast. Right?
It's just funny to see people post about it and be like, you know what also is funny about episode 53? If I may take a brief sidebar here. Episode 53 was the last kind of production mishap we had where I had to stitch two things together. So it required a little bit of extra work. And we couldn't even post it, even though we still hit the deadline to get it done. It doesn't matter. We will post it soon. So, but keep guessing. It's fun to see you guessed, and I like seeing the passion. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining. Everybody go play Adventure of Samsara and wishlist it, and have a good time. And we will talk to you next time. Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.